morning students. I Professor Rajeshwari Sharma here, and today we are going to discuss subject Indian economy. Today we are going to start with our second unit under this subject, that is Indian economy and policy, and the first chapter under this subject is Indian economy. So let's start with introduction to Indian economy. So before starting the introduction of Indian economy, first we need to understand what is basically the economy. The economy consists of all activities related to the production, consumption, distribution and the trade of goods and services in a particular country. When we talk about the economy, so it consists of the economic and non-economic factors, and the working of an economy is influenced by the economic factors like economic system prevailing in a particular country, the monetary policy and the fiscal policy of a particular country, etc. And when we talk about the non-economic factor, so it consists of the laws and the regulation in the various countries, the culture of the various countries, the natural resources and the geographical area of the various countries. So these are the non-economic factors. So when we talk about the working of an economy, so it is influenced by this economic and non-economic factors. So the economic system prevailing in an economy influences the most on the working of an economy. So first we will discuss about the economic system. So basically there are three types of economic system, that is capitalistic economy, socialistic economy and the mixed economy. So let's start with the capitalistic economy. See, when I'm talking about the capitalistic economy, so it's also known as the free market economy. It is the economic system where the means of production or the factors of production, that is capital, labor, machinery, etc. is owned by the private players. So capitalistic economy is an economy where the private players or the private sector plays the leading role. Here the production of goods and services is based on the forces of demand and supply, and the profit earning is the main motive of the private players under such system. So the example of the economies having capitalistic system is like USA, UK, then Switzerland, etc. The next one is socialistic economy. When we talk about the socialistic economy, so it is an economy where the public sector plays the leading role, which means the means of production or the factors of productions are owned by the public sector. The public sector decides about the production and the investment decision. So in socialistic system, the decision regarding production is taken by taking into consideration the social welfare or the welfare of the people living in a nation. The third one is mixed economy. So mixed economy is that economic system which has the elements of both the system, means which takes some features from the capitalistic economy and some features from the socialistic economy. Therefore it's called as mixed economy. Like India is the most suitable example of mixed economy. Here we see the factors of production or the means of production is owned by both public as well as the private sector. In every sector like the railways, the telecom sector and the others as well, you will find the existence of public as well as the private sector. So these are the basically three types of economy. Now coming to the introduction of Indian economy. When we talk about the Indian economy, so it's basically a mixed economy, and if we talk about the size of Indian economy, so the size of Indian economy is $2.94 trillion in terms of the GDP, and in terms of population it is the second largest country in the world with the population of approximately 138 crore people in year 2020. So moving towards the structure of Indian economy. So basically we have the three main sectors, like primary sector, secondary sector, primary industry, secondary industry, and the tertiary industry. When we talk about the primary sector or primary industry, so here it basically consists of the agriculture and allied activities. And agriculture and allied activities like fisheries, forestries, etc. And this sector is basically dependent upon the natural resources for the production of its goods and services. And when we talk about the contribution of this sector to the GDP at present time, so it was 17% in the contribution of this sector was 17% in GDP in year 2019. So even though the contribution of primary sector is only 17% in GDP, still the 54%, approximately 53 to 54% of population of India depends upon this sector for their livelihood, for the employment. The second one is secondary industries. Here it consists of the manufacturing industries, quarrying and mining, electricity, water, construction, etc. And this sector contributes approximately 29.6% of GDP. Then coming to the tertiary industries. So it is basically the service sector, and it includes the services like the financial services, banking, professional services, transport, communication, etc. And at present time, in today's era, the major contribution to the GDP comes from the tertiary industries, that is 53.4% of the total GDP. See, when India has got independence, so the contribution of primary sector there used to be the major contribution of primary sector in the GDP of country, but with the span of time, many measures have been taken for the expansion of the secondary and the tertiary industries, because of which the occupational pattern of the India has changed and the contribution of the various sectors in GDP has also changed. As a result of which today we are seeing the primary sector is one of the sector which is having least contribution in the GDP, but still it's providing job to approximately 53 to 54% of India's population. So it was the structure of Indian economy. Now we will see the features of Indian economy. So first one is low per capita income. When I talk about the per capita income, so it includes it's calculated by dividing population from the national income. So the formula for per capita income is national income divided by the population. And when we talk about the developing economies like India, so here the rate of increase of population is higher than the rate of increase in the national income. When the population increases at the higher rate and the national income remains constant or increases at very low rate, then the per capita income is going to be low. So therefore the low per capita income is one of the feature of Indian economy. The second one is high population growth. See, due to improvement in the various medical facilities, due to improvement in the science and technology, the living of standard of people have developed, and due to improvement in the medical science, the death rate in the country has declined. But even after taking the measures for declining the birth rate has not declined in a proper quantity, means the inadequate measures were there to decline the birth rate. Therefore, the gap between the death rate and the birth rate was very high. Means birth rate is high in the country, and at the same time the death rate was declining. which has led to the high population growth in the economy. Next one is dominance of agriculture sector. As we have discussed, the contribution of various sectors in the GDP. So we are seeing that the agriculture sector is one of the sectors which contributes least to the GDP. Still, I am saying that agriculture is having the dominant role in the Indian economy. Why I am saying it? Because as I have told you, the Indian agriculture basically uses the labor-intensive techniques of production, because of which it occupies the most of the proportion of population in it. It provides employment opportunity to most of the proportion of the population. Therefore, it's having the dominant role in the Indian economy, and India is still considered as an agrarian economy. The fourth one is inequality in distribution of income and wealth. When we talk about the inequality in distribution of income and wealth, so when we see the distribution of national income in India, so top 10% people owns 80% of wealth, and the rest 90% people owns only 20% of wealth, or shares only 20% of wealth. So from this data we can see how much inequality is there in the distribution of income and wealth in the Indian economy. Therefore, there is a high gap between the rich and the poor in Indian economy. So it is also one of the feature of Indian economy. Then next one is low rate of capital formation. See, basically what is capital formation? So when I am talking about the capital formation, so it's channelizing the ideal resources towards the productive uses. Okay, and when I talk about the capital formation, so basically we need to understand it with the help of an example. Suppose when we talk about the income, it's divided into two parts. First one is saving and the consumption. And when I talk about the consumption, so when the people are having the low per capita income, there is much gap in the distribution of income and wealth among the people. So the most of the people spends major part of their income for the consumption purpose, and therefore the rate of saving is very low. When the rate of saving is low, so the rate of capital formation in the country also remains low, because of which the rate of investment in the country for the productive purposes is low. So due to the poor low per capita income and inequality in distribution of income and wealth, there is low rate of capital formation in the Indian economy. The next one is poor utilization of resources. See, even though there are abundance of resources in the economy, still there is poor utilization of resources. See, if there is some country which is rich in terms of resources, but if it is not having the skilled population or skilled labor force, it is not having the technical expertise for exploring those resources, for utilizing those resources, so can it make productive use of those resources? The answer is no. It cannot make productive use of these resources. And the same problem is there with the Indian economy. We have the resources, but still we do not have the advanced technology, the skilled laborers for making the productive utilization of those resources. Therefore, we are having the characteristics of poor utilization of resources in Indian economy. The next one is problem of underemployment. As I have told you, the agriculture sector provides employment to approximately 53 to 54% population. And when we see the agriculture sector in India, so the job opportunities in this sector are seasonal in nature, and there is a problem of disguised unemployment where the more than required people are working on the existing resources, and the problem of underemployment means the people are having work for the particular period of time, and for rest of the time they are remaining unemployed. So therefore there is the problem of underemployment or the disguised unemployment in the Indian economy. The last one is market imperfection. While discussing the regional planning, we have discussed the concept of the regional imbalances. Okay, so even though there are some areas or there are some regions which are rich in terms of some resources, but due to some conflicts between the regions or due to immobility of the factors of production, there is a gap between the demand and supply of a particular commodity and the services, because of which the prices of particular commodities and the services are high in some areas, which makes it expensive and it cannot be afforded by the poor people, which leads to creation of the poor standard of living for the many people in Indian economy. So today we have discussed the structure and the features of Indian economy. So stay safe, keep studying. Thank you.